Hello, friends, and welcome back to another lesson. I am so happy you have decided to join me today, and we are going to do the final lesson. So, we're going to put everything together for literary elements. Are you ready? Okay, so I have titled today's lesson Problem and Solution because that's what we have seen this week, right? Okay, however, we are going to touch on characters and we're also going to review setting. Are we ready for that? Okay, so let us begin with our clear learning target. I can read a story and identify the characters, setting, problem, and solution. Can we read it together? Perfect. Let's go ahead. I can read a story and identify the characters, setting, problem, and solution. Okay, so to do that, we are going to, as I mentioned, review. So let's review the characters. Do you remember who are the characters in a story? How about you type it on the chat? Okay, just let me see if you can remember what they are. Okay, ready? Okay, well, the characters are most often the people or animals, right? It can be things as well. Okay, remember that in Cinderella, the Disney version, the things in the house that they talk, right? So it can be things as well. Remember that. Um, Also, they perform the actions and speak the dialogue of a story. Now, let me put that speak in quotation marks because can also be a thought, okay? It might not be as they might not be actually talking, they might be thinking it. Remember, I go back to Garfield and John, okay? John speaks, but Garfield is actually thinking the dialogue, okay? Beautiful. Okay, so the characters move the story's plot forward. Without characters, there is no plot. Okay? Okay. And they are the who of a story. Okay? Um, there we go. So remember that they think, they feel, and they act. Let's go ahead and look at the setting. What is the setting of the story? Do you remember? Okay, so if you said the place and the time, you are totally correct. The setting refers not only to the physical location, which is the place, but also the time the action takes place. And remember that time can be day, night, evening, afternoon, year, week, all of that, okay? So it is the where and the when of a story, okay? Beautiful. Let's move on to the problem or conflict. Now, this one is very, very fresh, right? So, do we remember what the problem is? Aha, good job. The problem of a story is something that needs to be solved or worked out, right? Okay, so it is usually found at the beginning of the story. So if you have a chapter book, then it might be in the first chapter, or it should be anyways. Okay? Okay, and now we have our solution. So, what is a solution? Do you remember? How about you type it on the chat, okay? And I'll give you a few seconds for that. Well, I'm sure we are ready. So let's see if you have something similar to what I have. Okay. So a solution in a story is the way the problem is solved or worked out, right? Remember that from last class? It is the fix, right? Okay. The solution is usually found near the end of the story. That's right. Okay, friends. So let me go ahead and present you with our story map one more time. Okay, so this is going to be what you are going to be doing at the end of the class. You're going to be completing the story map. Remember our learning target to identify the characters, the setting, the problem, and the solution in a story. Okay? Okay, so today's story is this. So tell me, what do you see? How about you write it on the chat? Just write a few of the things that you notice in this illustration. And I'm just going to be quiet for a few seconds. Well, I'm sure you got it. That's right. So that, friends, brings us to the title of our story that we are going to do together, The Ant and the Dove, right? So I am going to, just like I did the last time, I'm going to read it. I'm going to be pointing out a few things. And then we are going to complete the story map graphic organizer together. Beautiful. Let's go ahead and start. A dove saw an ant fall into a brook. The ant struggled in vain to reach the bank, and in pity, the dove dropped a blade of straw close beside it. Clinging to the straw like a shipwrecked sailor to a broken spar, the ant floated safely to shore. Okay, so right here we see a our setting, our characters, we see our problem, and we see a solution as well, right? So who are the characters? Yeah, the dove and the ant, right? And where are they? What is the setting of the story? Yeah, well, it's, a brook is mentioned. A brook is just a river, a small, tiny spring, right? A body of water. And we can assume that they are somewhere in the wilderness, the woods, the forest, right? Outside, a park, okay? Good. So all of those answers will be acceptable. And what is the problem in this specific paragraph right here? Yes, that the ant fell in the brook and it is drowning, right? Okay, so that we have identified the problem. Now, what is the solution to this problem? Yes, the dove decides to help by dropping a blade of straw, probably a leaf or something like that, right? So the ant floats to safety. Very good. Let's continue reading. Soon after, the ant saw a man getting ready to kill the dove with a stone. But just as he cast the stone, the ant stung him in the heel so that the pain made him miss his aim, and the startled dove flew to safety in a distant wood. Okay, so this is soon after. So that means that the setting time-wise has changed. Okay, so we're still in the general area. So we're still in the woods or the forest or the park. We still have the same characters, but the setting has shifted a little bit. Okay, so it is soon after, and this time is in the woods, because the dove is somewhere perched on a tree, right? So um, now we have a new character here. Who is the new character that just got introduced? Yeah, a man, that's right. And the problem is that he is going to do what? Yes, he wants to kill the dove, right? And what was the solution to that problem? Well, the grateful ant saved her by stinging the man in the foot. Okay, very good. So there we have it. We have, friends, identified all of our story elements, right? So we have our characters. First, we have our title. Then we have our characters, main characters. After that, we have our setting. What is the setting again? Yep, it's the when and the where. So somewhere in the woods, right? Now, what So we do have two problems, right? So that means that we have two solutions. So let's look at problem number one. The ant fell in the river. And what is the solution to that problem number one? Yes, the first solution is that the dove dropped a branch into the river to save the ant, which in turn swims to shore. That's right. Now, what is the second problem that we encountered? Yes, the second problem is that a man is trying to kill the dove, right? And what is the solution to that problem? Mhm. This time is the ant, the one that comes to the rescue, causing, by stinging the man, he causes him to lose his aim, and she saves the dove that way and repays her for her favor the first time. That's right. Good job. Okay, so now it is your turn. Okay? Yes. Now your turn to practice. So this time I am giving you a fable, a story. I find them to be very easy. Okay? So it is called The Ants and the Grasshopper. Okay? So what I need you to do, remember that in order to identify all of the story elements, what is the number one, what is the first thing that you have to do? Yes, the very first thing that you have to do is read the story, right? If you don't read the story, it would be impossible for you to identify all of the elements of a story, okay? Yeah, I mean, from the title, you can get the characters, but then you do need to find out the setting, and you need to find the problem, and you need to find the solution, right? So you got to read the story. That's right. So number one is read the story. Number two is identify the setting. That's right. And then identify the characters. Correct. And after, you're going to also identify the problem and the solution. Okay, so you are going to do that, friends, using our graphic organizer. Okay, it is uploaded to either Canvas or Google Classroom. So just go over there and look for that. Okay. So when you finish, remember you need to start with the title, and then we're going to identify the characters. We're going to identify the setting. You are going to identify the problem or problems. Our previous story had two different problems, and they were both very important, right? And solution or solutions. Okay, friends? Thank you so very much for your attention. Thank you for a wonderful lesson. And I hope that with this, we become even better readers. Okay? Ciao. See you next time.